And welcome back to Lock&Hackle. So here you see the dismantled TriStar shotgun. I'll try and maneuver this around so you can see it. There's the foregrip. There's the stock. All that good stuff. Sorry, things just being bouncy. So let's get into this. So here, nothing was wrong. Well, first off, I took all the finish, that glossy acrylic, off the stock. Okay, that was the first thing I had to do. I just didn't like it. But the major problem was the action. For some reason, my bottom barrel, which is this one, fired off of this one, top barrel, which is this one here, off of this one. Now the problem I was having is on here, the depth at which the firing pins protruded were always different. So I actually ordered a new hammer and a new hammer spring and guide rod. This is your top hammer, this is your bottom hammer. The firing pins are at angles, so they're kind of like this. So they have to be, in order to be in line, they have to be offset. So bottom hammer, well, I should say it's opposite. Anyway, you get it. So I was just not getting, I was getting indentations on primers, but they weren't hitting. So I thought initially it was the strike face of the hammer was not giving enough attention to the back of the firing pin. So the first hammer I ended up filing it down more and more, sanding, trying to get more purchase on the strike face to the back of the firing pin, which is right there. I need to retract the hammers, but I can't unless I get, let me see if I can do it with my trusty screwdriver here. I might not be able to. Let's see if I can get in there. So to do this, you just pull it back. Okay, so this is the strike face of the hammer. It hits the back of the firing pin. This is the stopping face, which hits back here on the receiver. And so I filed the old hammer down to get more purchase here. It didn't make a difference. The next question was, how flat is this area? So I put a metal bar across it, and I ride it up and down. There was a slight hump right here. So I did some, I don't know if you can see it, a little bit of milling right here and some sanding. Still didn't make a difference. So I had to decide, am I going to send this thing back? What am I going to do? They sent me the parts. Nothing seemed to fix it. And so my last idea was there's got to be a difference somewhere in here. So I took the firing pins out. Now the internal dimensions are different. The length of the channel that the firing pins are in are different. If you look at the bottom hammer, let me retract that one. Maybe. Oh, no. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So both hammers are back, right? Just like that. See how they're back. Oh, by the way, this is called a box lock configuration, if you were curious. So very little travel in the bottom firing pin, but there's a lot of travel in the top one. Well, I thought, well, then there shouldn't be a problem, but there is. The internal dimensions of the channel versus the firing pin, which is cone-shaped, just past this roll pin here, there's a gap in the firing pin that's shaped like this and allows it to move back and forth. So the point at which the channel narrows to just let the firing pin go through is actually very short. So what was happening is the actual firing pin spring that makes it return was actually hindering the firing pin from coming all the way forward. So when the hammer would hit it, it would literally just barely come out because of there was about 12 loops in the coils, right? So the firing pin spring, should have brought one out here, I have one. So what I did was I ended up cutting about 3 of the firing pin coils off, and then I had success. So now the firing pin moves effortlessly. It felt like it was binding up a little bit, like I could push it in, but it felt crunchy. So now there's very little resistance to the firing pin, just like this one over here. I can push it in all the way and it doesn't feel crunchy at all. I did 2 initial tests on some high brass cartridges that I know that have hard primers on them, and I was able to do 6 shots. Well, I should say primer pops. I took the shotgun shells apart, cut them, poured the powder out, and just busted the primers, and it worked perfectly. So I'm hoping that possibly this coming Saturday there is a dove hunt coming up, and I will be taking this one with me along with my trusty Mossberg 500. So if you're curious as to what the inside of what your TriStar shotgun looks like, that's it right there. So this is your sear selector right here, and your safety. So you upper barrel, lower barrel, you slide it left and right. These are the sears right here that hold the hammer in place. That's your sear tooth, and that's your sear catch. And if you want to fire one, you pull the trigger and it comes forward like that. You fire the next one, it goes forward. Oh, can't get my finger in there. Come on. Well, yep. There we go. So that's how that works. And then to reset the hammers, this bar here is pushed by this bar here. It's a very simple design, but yet complicated because it's very delicate. You have simple trigger here coming up and down the hammer. So figuring out why the gun wouldn't fire shouldn't be that difficult. If all this is working like it should, then it's got to be something in here. And even now, when putting my finger out like this, the firing pins are protruding at about the same depth, which is what I did not have before. The bottom pin always stuck out more than the top. The top one always fell back in. Even if the hammer was forward, it was never as far. Now it's perfect. They match. And if you take this plate off, which is just a recoil plate because it's an aluminum receiver, so this steel plate is there to protect the firing pins. It's just a machined oval space with 2 holes in it where the firing pins come out. So from this side, you really can't tell what's going on. But I think we got it, and I hope to get some video of this coming weekend if it doesn't rain. And with that, I would like to say thank you for watching, and if you've been following the journey of the TriStar shotgun, I hope you find this video, and maybe if you're having the same problem, look into it. Okay, Lock and Hackle. We'll see you out there.